Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new game controller for your Android device from PowerA, known as the Moga XP7Plus. About a year ago on the channel we took a look at the XP7, and overall it's actually been a pretty decent controller. It came with kind of a mount that would mount your phone to the top of the controller itself, but this is known as a telescopic controller. Some people call them a stretchy controller. And basically, we can mount our phone directly in the middle of this unit. Obviously, it is Xbox branded, and they're really selling this on kind of cloud gaming or Game Pass gaming on your Android device. It does come with this stand here, so you can stand a tablet or a phone on the table and use this in Bluetooth mode. And by the way, this also works in wired mode, but unfortunately it doesn't connect to your device over USB Type-C on the controller itself. Now, you could always plug in a USB cable if you want to, but this is meant to be a Bluetooth controller. It's definitely a bulky boy, but it does have a few neat tricks up its sleeve, like wireless charging. This actually has a 2000 milliamp hour battery with wireless charging built in. So if your phone does support wireless charging, while it's inserted into the device itself, it can charge it up. Now, one thing I noticed was they're using micro USB here to charge that internal battery. Really wish it was USB Type-C, but for me, that's not a deal breaker. It is 2022, and it really should have USB Type-C, but unfortunately they just went with micro USB. Now, it does come with a 10-foot USB cable and this detachable stand here. And around back we've got two programmable buttons. Now, this doesn't require an app to program these buttons, but they can only be programmed to buttons that are already on the controller. A, B, X, Y, L3, R3, L1, L2, and so on and so on. But I really do think that it should have came with its own app, or you could download the app from Google Play and assign these buttons here to on-screen touch points. That way we could have an extra button and not just kind of mirroring another button we already have. But the very first thing I wanted to take a look at was the wireless charging built in. So right here we've got our 2000 milliamp hour battery with a built-in wireless charger. You're going to charge everything up from this micro USB around back here. We've got a battery indicator, and I've got this on about half charge. And having this all built in is really what makes this controller kind of a thick boy, but we're going to test it out here. I've got the Galaxy S21. This isn't my main gaming phone, and my main gaming phone really doesn't support wireless charging, but we're going to go ahead and try this out. And as soon as I insert it, it's charging. So this was at 10%, and now it's getting juice from the built-in battery on the controller itself. But I wanted to see how fast this is really charging, so I've downloaded an app that'll calculate how fast this battery's charging now. And in my experience with a lot of wireless chargers, they're pretty slow. In my opinion, they're really made for just kind of setting down when you go to sleep, and it should be charged when you wake up. But with this app here, we'll give it just a little bit of time, and I don't think we're going to hit a 1 amp charge with this unit. And as I suspected, at least with the Galaxy S21, we're getting a super slow charge. So if I was to calculate 310 milliamps by the 3.7 volts on the battery that this thing's putting out, this is charging at a rate of about 1.1 watts. So we've got some really slow charging here from that built-in wireless. Now, don't get me wrong, if you set this here without doing anything on the phone, we could charge the battery up, but I don't think we'd see the percent on our battery go up while we're gaming using this method here. But I personally didn't buy this controller for the built-in wireless charging. Like I mentioned, the gaming phones I use don't even have wireless charging built in. I personally wanted a good telescopic controller, and we're going to find out if this is a good telescopic controller. So I've got the new Red Magic 7 Pro here. Really fast phone with the Snapdragon Gen 1 Plus. I mean, this thing is an absolute beast. And it fits in this device just fine. I've already paired it up over Bluetooth, so let's go ahead and start a native Android game. Then we'll move over to some emulation, and then cloud gaming, because I think that's where a lot of people are going to be wanting to pick something like this up at. Alright, so first up we've got Asphalt 9. Didn't have to do any kind of mapping. The Android device is actually detecting this as an X input controller, and it works very well. I do like the feel of these analog sticks. They're a bit stiffer than an Xbox controller, and if you're used to using an Xbox controller and you come right over to this, you will notice it. Now, it could be that this controller is brand new and I've been beaten on my Xbox controllers, but I really do think that this does have stiffer springs in here, and it feels pretty good. Here's another game from the Play Store that natively supports controllers. We've got Minecraft, and this just works with a lot of different controllers. Really never had an issue, be D input or X input. But keep in mind, this controller isn't going to work with Respawn games. like Apex Legends or Call of Duty Mobile. Unfortunately, they've got it set up to where it has to be an official Xbox controller, PS4 or PS5 controller for it to work. The only way I've ever been able to get a third-party controller to work with Call of Duty Mobile or Apex Legends is using a third-party mapper. There's several on the market, but I personally use Mantis Pro. Unfortunately, when it comes to these games, they never tell you on the website if it works with these games or not. And as of making this video, the Respawn games only support official hardware. But if you're looking to pick up a controller like this for emulation, it's going to work out just fine. It connects to the Android device using X input mode, and 99.9% of all emulators will support this controller. A lot of them automatically map the buttons for you. Some of them you do have to go in and set it up. But I haven't had any issue with EtherSX2 here playing PS2 games. I've also tested the Dolphin emulator, PPSSPP, and Citra. So for emulation, this is going to work out really well. And one last thing I like to test with emulation is this D-pad, just for fighting games. I want to make sure that I can pull off my special moves, and I really haven't run into any issues. On the edges of the D-pad, it's got kind of a raised edge, so you will have to get used to it, but it functions perfectly fine. But I think a lot of people who come across this online are going to want to pick it up for cloud gaming, be it Stadia, GeForce Now, or Game Pass, xCloud, Xbox game streaming, whatever you want to call it nowadays. It is an Xbox branded controller from PowerA. And by the way, yes, we do have analog triggers on this controller, but yeah, I mean, it definitely works with Game Pass really well. We've got Forza Horizon 5 here, and I am working on a little bit of a shoddy internet connection today. Not exactly sure what's going on with my provider, but it is working well enough to show it off, and this just connected right up. I mean, I didn't have to do any kind of setup. As soon as I launched the Game Pass app, my controller was ready to go. I could navigate the app itself, choose a game, go right into it here. And I'm not going to be able to stop here. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. But we've also got the Xbox button, which does function inside of Game Pass. So if we do press that, it'll bring up our profile, and we can get right into the settings from there. We can actually navigate all of this with our controller. So yeah, it works great for cloud gaming. It works great for native Android games that do support controllers other than official Xbox or PS4, PS5 controllers. And it also works amazingly with emulation. Now, if you're not into a Bluetooth connection, there are other controllers on the market that connect to your phone over USB Type-C. One that I would highly suggest is the new Razer Kishi 2, one of my favorite controllers. It's got a much smaller profile than this unit, but I think a lot of the bulk here really is due to that wireless charging that's built in here. And as we saw, it's not the fastest wireless charging, so I'm not sure how handy this is going to come in for a lot of people. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you're interested in learning more, I will leave a couple links in the description. You can head over to the official Moga website. I'll leave that down below. And you can also buy this on Amazon if you're interested in picking one up. If you have any questions or you want to see anything else tested with this controller, just let me know in the comments below. And like always, thanks for watching.